Hey there, Dan Nestor here, and this is a little tutorial which I think would be better than or as good as the written tutorial, which I'll probably come up with. But I just thought I would do a screen recording because I think it might be just as helpful to set up a voice thread in Canvas, as well as just poking around VoiceThread once we get it set up. So, like a good cooking show, I've got the ingredients for what we need to do here. Here's a little folder I have, and this has sample lectures, just like 4 slides in a PDF form. So it's good to have that on hand when you're setting up, like your a PDF of your PowerPoints or whatever you're going to use as the slides in your voice thread, as well as Canvas. So here is a Canvas. So I'm going to minimize this. So here's a Canvas module right here, just like a mock-up here. And so if I wanted to add a voice thread to this module, I would hit this button, and I would actually, I just wanted to, this is what it would look like just when you open it up, and I think it just went to this external tool because that's the last one I had. So you want to scroll down to external tool like this, and it's going to be in alphabetical order, all these little tools that you can use, these external tools. And VoiceThread is under V. So here's VoiceThread. Here's a trick. Right now, like nothing, the the rest of this thing is hidden. You have to scroll down, right? See that? And you've got now you got VoiceThread picked, and this is where you would uh, type the title of your voice thread. You could rename it later on, but I find it's good to give it a title right off the bat. The other thing is you want to have it load into a new tab because that just works best. And then let's go ahead and add the item. And there you can see it's been added. It's not published yet, but it's been added. So what's going to happen now when you click this is it'll go to this open in a new window tab thing. So you want to do that. You want to click it. And now it's going to open up VoiceThread. It's going to take a little bit to like validate or password. You know, stuff is happening in the background. And so then, boom, it opens. And so there's a couple of different options here. And what you want to pick is the individual voice thread. Because these other ones would be like if you already had something made. Let's say if you're starting a new semester and you already have some voice threads started, that's why these buttons exist. But this is the one you want when you're starting from scratch. So I'm going to click that, and so what's generating here is all the voice threads that I've done in the past, and all the ones that are like in my current classes. But I want to pick create new voice thread, and that's this button right here. Now, remember that PDF I talked about in the beginning? This is the time for that to shine. So I'm gonna bring this. I mean, there's different ways that you can, of course, bring a file in, but I just wanted. There's different ways you could do it. You could drag and drop it, right? So if that's the way, if that's what floats your boat, you would do it that way. I'm gonna go in my directory tree just the way I would do it. And so I have this like deep inside my files. So excuse me as you look at all my files. I think it's under Canvas, right? VoiceThread tutorial for profs. And there's my sample lecture. So I'm going to add that now. And another thing comes up. So this is the name of the voice thread inside VoiceThread, not to be confused with the name that's like up on Canvas. So I called it Industrial Revolution. Let's call it Industrial Revolution Part 1. Okay? So I don't know if you saw what just happened in the background. Those slides loaded. They eventually did load. There's some things here that are important. Like here's playback options. Sometimes that really comes back to bite you if you want students to comment. Sometimes these might be like deselected, and then you'll have students say, I'm trying to leave a comment, but I can't do that because it's not allowed. But you're allowing comments and all that stuff. There's a bunch of things here. So here are the slides, right? So there's a couple things that you can do, But what I recommend you do before you start adding your voice and or video or whatever is to hit share with class. So I hit share with class, and it's going to take me back to Canvas. And that to me is very sort of um, reassuring. Like it's there, it's been shared with the class, and now when you click this, it's going to go to the voice thread. And it takes a couple seconds to sort of load, which you might get impatient or doubt things are happening, but it is. So there we are. That's what it opens. It opens right up to the first slide, and as you can see, there's a different ways that you can do it. See if you my mouse is here. Go to the bottom right. So there's different ways you can take a look at all your slides. You can go like left, right, like you would, right? Or you can take a look at it sort of like bird's eye view this way. And what's neat is like you can switch slides. Let's, like I can shift these slides left and right. I can move this over here, that sort of thing. And I think that's quite handy. So you double click and you go back. You can go to any of these slides. I want to go to this one. I double click. Let's go here. I double click. Okay, so you get the idea. So now what's kind of cool is you can do any number of things. You can do, let's see, I want to leave a video here. I wonder if this is going to allow me to do that with me in the screen. So I'm like a video. Hello, hello, hello. I'm your professor, and I'm going to tell you about the Industrial Revolution. And so it's recording, and then it'll play back. Hello, hello, hello. I'm your professor, and I'm going to tell you about the Industrial Revolution. So that's traditionally like what I do. I think I mentioned that. I do a little video at the beginning, but then you can also just add an audio. Let's see if it works like with my screen recording happening. So I'm going to talk about the Industrial Revolution, and boy, it's going to be really, even though I'm an English professor and I don't know much about the Industrial Revolution, I'm going to say I'm going to talk about it now. So here we go. Boom. Now it's uploading. So So I'm going to talk about the Industrial Revolution, and boy, it's going to be really, even though I'm an English professor and I don't know. So there it goes. So you can hit cancel because maybe you flubbed it or whatever, but it'll just appear right here. So here they are right here. You can see the little camera and the little microphone. And now students can respond to this way, or they can leave like a standalone comment that's not, in response to anything, but is in there. So you can move these slides as you move along. And add more comments onto them, and students can add discussion as well. I think I mentioned that, like, having a slide where you say, let's have our discussion here is a little bit easier, just so you can keep track, because just brass tacks wise, if you're going to grade this discussion, you would have to kind of do you would have to do something else. And this is what I do, and I actually didn't plan on doing this in this tutorial, but I like getting down the brass tacks. Like, this is not an assignment per se. This is just a thing that you put up that students can do. But if you want to leave a grade for it, you're going to have to do like a new assignment. So let's do Industrial Revolution discussion, right? And you add that, and to set up an assignment, you want to have it be, let's say, a discussion group. So I'm not sure how conversant you are in Canvas itself, but when I set up, and I can talk about that in something else in another tutorial. But like basically, when you go to assignments, it shows like the breakdown of everything here by percentage, and this is just a kind of sandbox thing, like I said. But you can actually break these down by percentage, and I do that as well. So like, let's say discussion is 50%, this is 40%, and oh boy, okay, let's do that. Oh, I'm not good at math. So this is like the breakdown now, and now you have this discussion that is not there yet. Here it is here. You want to move it there. So I'm going a little bit off the beaten path here as far as like what you know what VoiceThread is, but here would be set by side by side. I'm gonna what I usually do is I go here's your grade. And so here is the voice thread. And you can actually, when I first started out, I would actually name these just so I could keep track. You could actually have voice thread right in the name of it so the students know this is where you, this is the voice thread where you have a discussion, and here's where I give you the grade for said discussion. And you can have this like so they can see it, so they can see the grade, and they can see the rubric for the discussion, and all that jazz. So these aren't published yet. In order for you to get this to be published, you would have to hit those green buttons. So now it's live. The students can see it. They would hit this, go in and do their discussion, and it'll just open up, and they'll do their discussion requirements, and then you would grade the discussion in a separate assignment. So like for discussions, what I've just learned recently is like for this grade section, which is you want to actually set it up so there's no submission, because they're not doing anything here. They're just getting a grade for something they're doing somewhere else. And I actually have like the due date for the discussion, if there is a due date, so they know they need to post their discussion by a certain point. It doesn't show up as late because there's nothing being submitted or not submitted here, but it's good to just get it in their calendar, if that makes sense. So now when we go back to the module, you'll actually see a due date for the discussion. That's the syllabus. Okay, module. So now you can see that like that grade has a due date, and it's not going to take off any points or whatever, but it's there, and I find that that's helpful. So I'm getting a little bit too in the weeds, but here's the voice thread, and this is the fun part. And so now you've set it up. If you want, I could do another tutorial about like how you can keep track of who is doing what in the voice threads and all that sort of stuff. I used to do it just manually, meaning like I'm looking for Johnny's stuff here, but there are ways to sort you can search commenters this way. Like there's only one person in this voice thread, so you can do it that way. You can do it by this. Again, these are all my submissions. These are all my kids. So here you can sort by commenter, which I find is like really super handy. And so here's like the students in my like all three of my classes actually. So I find that that's super handy as well. So I think that's about it. So I hope that's helpful. I hope this recording worked, and I'll try to come up with a paper document as well.